In 2023, when an American F-22 Raptor was sent to shoot down a Chinese spy balloon, the pilots used the call signs Frank 1 and Luke 1. That wasn't a coincidence. It was a tribute to the original balloon buster. A man so reckless, so allergic to taking orders, and so obsessed with hunting the most take-yourself-out targets of World War I that he became a legend in 17 days. Before dying in a blaze of glory, this is the story of Frank Luke, the daredevil who hunted giants. To understand Frank Luke, you first have to get your head around the terrifying reality of his chosen prey. The German Dragon observation balloons. These were not party decorations, they were colossal. Hydrogen-filled gas bags tethered thousands of feet above the trenches. They were the all-seeing eyes for German artillery. From a wicker basket dangling underneath, an observer could see for miles, directing shell fire with horrifying accuracy, right down onto Allied positions. So why didn't everyone just shoot them down? Because attacking one was basically a take-yourself-out mission. The balloons were surrounded by rings of anti-aircraft guns, machine gun nests, and squadrons of fighter planes ready to swarm any attacker. And the balloons themselves? They were floating fire traps. Regular bullets would just pass right through the fabric. That meant you had to fly into that storm of bullets, get terrifyingly close, and stitch the balloon with special incendiary rounds until the hydrogen finally ignited. If you were too close when it went up, the fireball would swallow your plane whole. Pilots who hunted them were called balloon busters, and most other flyers were convinced they had a death wish. Frank Luke Jr. was practically born for this kind of work. Growing up in Phoenix, Arizona, he was a tough kid, a standout athlete, a bare-knuckle boxer, and an expert marksman who worked in the copper mines. When America joined the war, he signed up for the Army's aviation section. When he got to France in 1918, he was assigned to the 27th Aero Squadron, where he immediately got a reputation for being arrogant, cocky, and a lone wolf who drove his commanders crazy by constantly flying off on his own to find a fight. But his bosses had a problem. They were under direct orders to get rid of those German balloons. So as much as they hated his attitude, they couldn't deny his raw talent. Luke found his one real friend in the squadron, Lieutenant Joseph Wagner, and together they created a terrifying, effective system. Luke would dive headfirst through the ground fire to hit the balloon, while Joseph flew cover, fighting off the swarms of German fighters. The results were instant and legendary. On September 12th of 1918, Frank Luke started a rampage that has rarely been matched in the history of air combat. In just 17 days, he destroyed 14 German balloons and 4 airplanes. His method was pure, uncut recklessness. He would throw his Spade 13 biplane into a hailstorm of flak, sometimes having to make multiple passes just to get the kill. During one fight, he even cleared his jam machine guns by banging on them with a hammer in mid-air. His legend just grew with every mission. On September 18th, while attacking balloons, his partner Joseph was shot down and killed. Enraged, Luke turned on the German fighters that had done it, downing 2 of the elite Fokker D-7s. As if that wasn't enough, he then proceeded to destroy 2 more balloons on his way back to base. In just 10 missions, Frank Luke racked up 18 confirmed victories. America's top ace of the war, Eddie Rickenbacker, said it best. He was the most daring aviator and greatest fighter pilot of the entire war. No other ace had ever come close to that. So by September 29th, Luke's constant insubordination had finally gotten him grounded. He didn't care. That evening he took off without permission and flew towards the front lines. He buzzed a nearby American balloon company, dropping a note with a simple, chilling message. Watch for 3 burning Hun balloons along the Meuse. And then he went to work. With German fighters on his tail and ground batteries lighting up the sky, Luke dove and destroyed his first target, then the second, then the third. 3 burning balloons, exactly as promised. But his luck had finally run out. A machine gun bullet fired from the ground tore through his shoulder, and his plane was critically damaged. He managed to crash land behind enemy lines near the village of Mervox. As German soldiers surrounded him and demanded his surrender, Frank Luke gave his answer. He drew his Colt pistol and started shooting. He fought until another bullet to the chest took him down. He was 21 years old. For his unbelievable courage in that last defiant mission, Frank Luke Jr. was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the first U.S. Army Air Service pilot to receive that distinction. His 18 victories in 17 days made him a legend, ranking him second only to the great Eddie Rickenbacker among aces in the American Expeditionary Forces. If you want to hear more stories about those heroes who defied the odds, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Today, Luke's Air Force Base in his home state of Arizona is named in his honor. He was arrogant, insubordinate, an uncontrollable pilot who played by his own rules, and in doing so, he became one of the brightest, most intense legends in the history of air combat.